Hello everyone. My name is Emily and I work at the Deaf Literacy Center. Today, along with the Family Center on Deafness, we're happy to be hosting this presentation. Take it away, Marshall. Hello everyone. My name is Marshall. I am deaf. I'm 12 years old and I have met the Hammer. We met through real dreams. We went fishing and went out on a fishing boat for the day. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. I guess I should start with my questions. Yes, thank you, Emily. Um, well, hey everybody. Uh, uh, this is Kat. I'm kind of learning the technology myself. Are we all set and good to go? This is Emily. Can you see me? Can you see us? Matt's saying, but I don't see Rosa. Well, Rosa is behind the scenes today. I am going to be taking her place as the host. I'm going to hand it over to our MC, Marshall. Hello everyone. Again, my name is Marshall. I am deaf and I am 12 years old. I first met Matt through real dreams. We went out on a fishing boat, spent the day in the ocean fishing, and I guess I want to start by asking Matt, where are you from? Are you the only deaf person in your family? First of all, Marshall, it's so good to see you. It's been a long time. I remember that day we went out on the fishing boat. I have very fond memories from that day. I remember meeting a lot of people, the good people of Florida, and I definitely remember you. That was great. Yes, I was born deaf. You asked me about my background. I'm the only deaf person in the family. I have two brothers and two sisters. Um, Everyone in my family can hear, and I'm the only one that was born deaf. So as you can imagine, I faced a lot of struggles growing up because I often question why I was the only one born deaf in my family when no one else was. And I admit, from the ages of 1, 2, and 3, I was a handful as a toddler. I know my parents struggled to deal with my behavior, which was lack of communication. It was really just a language barrier more than anything. We tried to learn a few signs, but um, it was difficult. You know, my family really tried, um, and that's when my stepfather and my mother came to the realization that it might be best for Matt to join wrestling, just something for me to channel my energy, my behavior. So it was my stepfather's idea, and my mom agreed with him. It was worth a shot. So my stepfather got me into wrestling. I remember really struggling to learn the game with our helmets. I could, very limited lip reading. I was watching mainly just visually how everyone was performing, and my stepfather put me out there. I was 7 at that time, and the other boy that I was facing was 7, and it was my first time on the mat. And we wrestled a little bit, and I lost that game, that first little scrimmage match, but I didn't give up. And I just remember being touched by the game. I just remember, okay, this is how it works. And I finally pinned the guy down and realized that this was really my passion. We went at it for 2 or 3 weeks, and about a month later, my parents would tell you my behavior did change. Wrestling did change my life. did. That was a defining moment for me. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you have a disability or other handicap. I was deaf and I did struggle with that identity of mine initially, but it doesn't matter. Deaf people can do anything. Okay, I have another question. Number 2. So then how do you talked about communication. How about your schooling? How did you communicate in school? Well, mostly orally. I was in an oral educational program. I had no interpreter. Everyone in my family was hearing, as I mentioned, so I learned to speak English, read lips, and really, I didn't have any of those accommodations like an interpreter to help me out in school. Not at all. You have to understand too, I lived out in the country. We had a large farm and property, and it was very rural. Now at school, I did get speech therapy, which did help a little. Again, trying to speech read, learning English by reading lips, getting more one-on-one assistance from the teachers for my education. I did have a note taker, but we're talking about in the 80s. So during that time, I had a note taker, and sometimes, I was able to follow the teacher until he or she turned around and started facing the blackboard. Then I was lost, but I did have the notes that I would get into class. Understandably, I was behind because of communication. So that was the communication barrier in school. Next question, Marshall. Okay, next question. Tell me about the barriers you experienced and how you beat them. Could you say that again? I'm having a difficult time seeing you. I am also on my iPhone, and your hand is so tiny in these little windows. Yeah, could you explain a little bit bigger? Yeah, it's okay. What barriers did you experience and how did you beat them? Oh, yeah. Regardless, every time I faced a barrier, I saw it as an opportunity to improve with practice. Um, I still am learning every day. You practice, you face those barriers, and you make progress. It doesn't matter. You can learn from those barriers day by day. You just focus and persevere, and that's how you'll overcome them and get better. All right, next question. Tell me about your accomplishments.
Yeah.
I have so many accomplishments that I can share. Not only um, as an individual, I think it's very important to mention the education. I do have a college degree. When we look at wrestling, yes, lots of rewards and awards there, but also electrical engineering degree from RIT and a lot of academic awards earned there too. That was at Rochester Institute of Technology. I've also been involved with the board there, involved in wrestling, but even more than just the game, tutoring, conditioning, having people work out with me in the gym. That's very rewarding as well. Now, competitions, yes. 3-time state champion in high school. In college, my record was 123 wins and only 3 losses. And then, of course, after that, I got involved with UFC and MMA fighting, 14 wins, 8 losses. But really, all in all, I'm just so thankful for my achievements. I've accomplished a lot and I'm proud of those. Okay, tell me about influential people or events in your life. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me tell you, I know there are many deaf children that have told me they've been inspired or influenced by my actions. I've been a role model. I'm telling you, 300, 400 emails a week at one time. I also have had the opportunity to travel the world. I've been to Scotland, Switzerland, Germany, Sweden, where I've had to use other signed languages and just always encourage others to never give up on their dreams. And a lot of that influence has been through email and meeting them in person. Well, can you tell me a little bit about your, what was that? Repeat that. Failures. Failures. Oh, of course. I've had many, many failures. It doesn't mean I ever gave up. Whatever I may have failed at, I took it as an opportunity to persevere, to keep going. It's that simple. If you fail, don't give up the first time or the second time. You know, I failed at winning belts, winning certain competitions, and you just have to accept those failures in the moment, but to know that the overall goal can still be accomplished. Yes, I can look back and, you know, wish that I could have accomplished more than I had, but I'm still so proud of the results and everything that I've been through over the years. But you know, people are going to experience failures, including myself. We all will. Nobody's perfect. But I'm telling you, it's very simple. Follow your heart. You know, use your drive, your passion, whatever it is you love, follow through, and something good will come in return. All right. Next question. Anything you want to share? Any words of wisdom with those watching, deaf people, ASL students? I'll repeat the question. Is there anything you want to share with us? Words of wisdom to the deaf people, ASL students, and families watching? Oh, yes. I do like quotes and wins, but destruction is the opposite when you do not move forward without it. That is a quote that I've been thinking about and has really helped me. I think it's also helpful for the deaf community. Really, it's a quote for the world. Don't give up. If you have hope, don't you, even when you're facing a dead end, when you feel like you're at the end of the road, you still have hope because life is a journey. Yes, there will be some hard phases of that journey, but trust my words. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about Hammer? Oh, yes. In 2008, we started working on that idea. I was involved with the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. It was a reality show at the time, and a movie producer approached me and was fascinated that I was a deaf UFC fighter, the first ever, and pitched the idea. Now, Evan Crossbar also came to see me. He's an actor, but also a wrestler, and it taught him my sign name, Hammer. And he asked me what he could learn about my life. And so I thought to myself, well, I guess I've been successful. I've accomplished a lot of things, but a movie project, why not? Let's try. It took us almost 6 years to actually complete the project of the movie The Hammer, because as you can imagine, things change, plans change. There's a lot of uh, script reviews, script changes, and when you're looking at an initial story, I wanted to tell my story, but I felt there was a lot missing. You know, if you look at the movie, 55% of it is factual. What isn't true is the waterfall is actually a water tower. And then prom. Have you seen the movie The Hammer? I haven't. Oop. What happened? There he is. Sorry, my battery was about to die. I had to get to an outlet so I could charge it. So, the Hammer movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't want to. Spoil it. I suggest you watch the movie. I definitely. Okay, well, I don't want to spoil the surprise. I mean, especially if you do want to see it. I don't want to ruin the ending. But the Hammer movie, yes, it turned out to be a huge success. So, Marshall, have you seen the movie The Hammer with Matt? Well, it's his life story. No, I haven't seen it yet either. Neither one of you have seen it? Oh, you need to see that movie. You should watch it. You know what? I'll get in touch with Rosa. Maybe I can give her a copy of the Hammer movie. She can loan it out to both of you. It's a great movie. I'll get in touch with her. Well, the library has a copy. Oh, good. Yes, library, of course. Safety Harbor.
Okay.
I have a question, Marshall. I have a question. Can I ask? How do you communicate with hearing people whenever you were fighting with the UFC or even in wrestling tournaments? I appreciate you asking that question. Communication. When you first go in, when you enter into the arena before you hop onto the octagon, I will never, I'm not able to hear anything, any of the cheering fans. And that's often a barrier for hearing people, but like the coach, I can't listen or do the coaching once I get out there, right? So before we would enter even into the ring, all of the fans and people in the stands were screaming and chanting. I couldn't hear it. So it was actually an advantage for me. I was able to stay focused, unnerved. I was pretty calm, collected until I got up in the octagon. And then my trainer, unfortunately, had to wait. I couldn't receive any coaching until the breaks. Only when I was able to go into the corner for the breaks. The same thing with wrestling. You really can't receive any active coaching because there was always a risk of you getting hit. The minute I looked at the coach, maybe for some certain plays or punches or tips, I could be injured. My eyes always had to be on my opponent at the time. So all of my trainers and my coaches, they put their own home signs, if you will. We did communicate that way with certain names, moves, and techniques. That's how we communicated with each other. But most of the time, I would read lips. Again, I grew up orally, so I do a lot of lip reading, speaking English and ASL. I do speak Russian, and I do know Russian sign language, completely different language. So Portuguese, I do know a little bit. Time in Brazil, it was fascinating, and I love it. I love it. I'm a cultural archaeologist, if you will. I love learning languages and other cultures. So sometimes, yes, it's difficult to follow. Okay, Marshall, did you have something else, or Emily? I do have another question. Oh, wait, Marshall, you go ahead. Well, I don't have another question. I just was going to close with thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with us. You truly are an inspiration to us all. Thank you. Oh, well, thank you so much. Oh, Emily, we're not quite done, right? Marshall, that's your name sign, right? That's your name sign, Marshall? Really? My manager, uh, and this is actually a work in progress, but I have another fight coming up soon. It's going to be in Moscow, in Russia. Due to the coronavirus and the pandemic, um, that was postponed. I'm hoping we'll be able to maybe reschedule before Thanksgiving, but I'll keep you posted on the upcoming fight. I'm still 5 years old. I know. Hey, good way to stay healthy. Well, let me ask you, why didn't why didn't you act in the movie The Hammer yourself? Oh, I don't know. I would have preferred a professional actor to be involved. I mean, there might be a Hammer part two, and maybe I can play a cameo. Maybe I can be one of the custodians in the gym. But Russell Harvard is the deaf actor, and he did an amazing job playing me, Matt Hamill, in The Hammer. I'm not a good actor, so um, I could maybe have a cameo in The Hammer too, but I'll let you know that's another project. I will definitely be in touch with Rosa on that as well. Emily's saying that you're curious if it's possible a second Hammer movie. Yes, it's in the works right now, but of course we have to fundraise. Budget is a big issue if you're going to make a movie, but also with this global pandemic, we've had to put some things on the back burner. But yes, it is a possibility. All right. Any more questions, Marshall? Do you have any more questions? Well, we've got the Hammer here. What else do you want to know about him? Hey, Marshall, can I say something? Oh, wait, no, I guess I do have a question. How did you learn sign language? Oh, I learned through the deaf community and also in school from my teachers. I learned as much as I could from day one. My signing has always been pretty bad. But it wasn't until I went to RIT, when I went to college, did I really learn ASL.
Yeah.
Marshall, did you have a question? Oh, you have a question for Marshall. Marshall, how old are you? I'm 12. So you're 12? Where are you living now? I'm in Florida. Oh, okay, Florida. Well, maybe someday, and tell them where you go to school. Yes, I know the athletic director at FSDB. You know what? Maybe someday soon I can fly down to Florida, and I would love to set up a wrestling seminar. And Marshall, I would need you to be a part of that. Yes, would you? Great. Okay. Well, let's put that one in the works too. I'll head down to Florida and I'll teach you some wrestling. We'll have a wrestling seminar. I think you would love it. I can contact the athletic director there. I know people in it. That'd be great. Hey, Marshall, you know what? I've really enjoyed this time talking to you. If you've got any questions, even offline, you know how to reach me. Rosa does. You can just tell Rosa, to give you my email and we can keep in touch. Yeah. All right, buddy. Oh, one more question. One more question. Are there any, I guess, after wrestling, what are you gonna do next? Well, I own a gym. Yeah. Yes, I teach wrestling and MMA, mixed martial arts. in Loveland, Ohio, or it's about an hour away. I've got a gym there, and I love to.
No.
That's my passion. Uh, Not only that, but I still am involved in competitions here and there. I still am wrestling. I do travel, go to different wrestling camps, wrestling clinics, RIT, NIG, California School for the Deaf, Riverside, Fremont. I'm still asked to go out a lot and help with wrestling clinics. I know also at many schools for the deaf. And like I said, I'll be in touch with the one in Florida too. Any final words, Marshall?
Oh, good.
I think I'm good. No,
Oh.
I don't have any more questions. All right. Hey, I'm good too. Listen, if you want to chat more later, Rosa has my contact information. I'd be happy to email you and chat even more. Happy to answer your questions anytime. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you,
All
Matt.
right.
Thank you. We really
Yeah.
appreciate your presentation and sharing your stories with us. Thank you, Family Center on Deafness. Thank you, Marshall. And thank you, Carrie, for interpreting. Oh, it was my pleasure.
Woo!
Oh, you're going to watch the movie, The Hammer. If you haven't seen it, anyone out there, it's a must watch. I think it's on Netflix, right? It used to be on Netflix. It was. It's not on Netflix now. You know, they always change their menu, but I know my manager, not me, my manager sells copies of the movie, but I'll give you a copy. Rosa, you'll take care of it, right?
Okay.
Good. Oh, yes. Any students, ASL students that are watching right now, they're actually asking through this Facebook Live video. That's how we wanted to know. How to, oh, well, you know what? Tell them, contact my manager or Rosa. You can share that. They can get a hold of my manager. Yeah. My agent. Feel free to share his contact info with those students, anyone asking online today. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you, Hammer. It was so good to see you. Take care. Bye.